So start from. This is what I had researched. That's how it started. Because we'll talk about it. You could just swipe over to the next
Oh,
picture.
swipe over. Oh, it's a picture.
Yeah.
I was trying to swipe. Why you?
I was like, what's she doing over there?
Oh, I never thought this was a trauma bond.
That's what I'm saying, Tanya. It's mad shit
The
up
kids
there.
that claim to love their mothers or fathers all the time, try to please them every second, claim to be their best friend, believe they have the best family ever, and find almost no fault in the parent are trauma bonded. Shit. Mm.
We working. We working.
What? I was reading the thing that he pulled up on the trauma bond. I didn't even know that was one though.
That is. Excuse me. I gotta introduce, cause I had to introduce the topic, and it's gonna be nerd. All right. Say cheers.
Yep.
The topic is today. The topic of today is trauma bonding. Just so you know,
So is that how we gonna make that funny?
that's our job to freestyle that. All right, you ready, Tanya?
Yep.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? You're now here to another episode of Combos in the Cave, and today we got a good one for you guys. And I want to introduce Tanya. You guys know her. She's a good friend of the show and a family member of the show, and also a co-host of the show.
Yo.
So today, Tanya, the topic today is going to be about what is trauma bonding, and we're going to get into the details of trauma bonding. This is one of Tanya's topics. And I'm just gonna like kind of wing it because when we get into these different conversations and it start getting a little deep, this one's gonna be a serious topic, but we're gonna try to find our jokes along the way. So with that being said, Tanya, what brought you to kind of bring up this topic? That's what I want to know because I was actually questioning myself, like, yo, she want to talk about this, but what you thought about to
Well, so I just thought about. I just was thinking about like relationships.
The
I was
mic.
just thinking about
Put it to you.
relationships and
Yep.
how people like connect, like even how I connect per se, or just how you just look on the be on the outside looking in and just see how things interconnect. And I just feel like
Intertwine.
people relate to what's relatable to them so much, even in negative aspects. Like we might connect people. It might be subconscious, if that's the right word to use.
Mm.
But I feel like it's on a subconscious level. You gravitate to, you know what I'm saying, what you relate to, whether it's
Yep.
negative or positive.
So when she hit me up with that topic, and I was like, it's a good topic because when you hear the word trauma, especially with me, when I hear the word trauma, I start to get into like the toxic bag.
Right.
Like that's the first initial thought that went through my head when you said trauma. So I said, you know what? Instead of me trying to wing it and sound crazy on the microphone, let me actually like research
Yeah.
what the word trauma bonding, because it's a two-word thing. It's not just trauma, it's trauma bonding. And when you add that bonding word, the whole concept about trauma changes.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what happens to me when once I researched it. So my first definition when I researched, I asked like Google what is trauma bonding or whatever, and it said verbatim, what does it mean to be trauma bonded to someone? That's a question mark. A trauma bond is an attachment that developed from a cycle of physical and or emotion traumas followed by positive reinforcements. So that kind of wasn't enough for me. So I had to like look up like signs or examples of trauma bonding. So when one of the signs was defensiveness or making an excuse for others for an abuser. So that would kind of open my mind to actually like getting what into what trauma bonding mean, and it's something that a lot of people go through,
Yeah, definitely.
right? And it don't have to be you don't have to be physically abused. You can be verbally abused.
Yeah, mentally.
You could be mentally abused. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, all right, think of it like this. Like, you have in the simplest form, you have a mother that screams all the time. Not necessarily, she doesn't necessarily say negative things, but maybe she just screams. She's aggressive. She's aggressive. A lot of the times, the person that you date resembles the same thing. Whether you know it or not, but that's what you gravitate to. That's what you respond to.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in a sense groomed to respond to certain things. I mean, you cultivate your own sense of self as you get older. You know what I'm saying? You take on certain things and certain things you leave behind, but a lot of the things that you a lot of the learned behavior, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
And you see it in your relationships, your friendships, relationships meaning friendships, intimate relationships, you know what I'm saying? Everyday relationships, how you interact with people.
Yeah, but the most like talked about trauma bonding to give you guys an example is like in a physical abuser, right? Like we all know some people be in those relationships that's physical, right? And because you love the person so much or you believe in the person so much, when you get around your friends, right, you try to give an excuse for it,
Yeah, you try
right?
to justify
You try to
it. Yeah.
justify, oh, he loves me, but he didn't really mean to do it. I made him mad. You know what I mean? That's like kind of like the broad uh, a term of trauma bonding. But when you dig deep inside, right, Tanya, it's other things like keeping somebody happy that you don't necessarily agree with their actions, but you tend to like accept it and justify it. It could be anything. It
Just
could
to
be just to
pacify
keep
them.
them happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the topics that I want to kind of elaborate on. Like, you got any? You know, have you ever been trauma bonded, or you ever been a part of something?
Right, that's a good question. So not to get too specific or into detail, but I feel like, and again, it's just like a reflection
Yeah.
phase that I'm going through, and it's like you just look back and you just, and I don't even. I'm gonna say this. I think I have trauma bonded, but I think I have also a lot of the things that I went through, or a lot of the experiences that I bonded with people who have similar experiences,
Yeah.
whether it's negative or positive.
Yep.
A lot of the times, it was there was bonding that was trauma bonding that I didn't realize was trauma bonding because I just saw it as qualities in me that I had that I saw in other people. So and I didn't necessarily think that they were negative
Yeah.
in me
Yeah.
at the time. You know, so I don't think that it's negative in them. But then when you look at it and you see, and like if you start to reflect on who you are, and like how you manage yourself in relationships, you start to see like what's wrong and why you do what you do, and then you start to figure out, oh, this is why I chose the partner that I chose because of this and that. And it's not, and I don't want it. I don't. It's not a negative aspect. But it's something that you can catch and just realize what it is.
Yeah.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
let's hypothetically speak, right? Let's say with me and my family, right? Like, we got that moms that we always want to keep our moms happy, right?
Right.
So as kids, we would tell on our siblings to make our parents like to get on our parents' good side. Would that be considered like trauma bonding in a
Well, I guess with
Just
their parent, yeah, I think, yeah, I guess so.
because we know to keep her like to be on her good side, we
Yeah.
got to give her information. So that's crazy. Like when you, but this is how deep trauma bonding goes. And if you don't really know, you should research the word because, like I said, everybody think it's always being abused and taken
Yeah,
up for the
it's
abuser.
it's a broad spectrum. Yeah.
Could trauma bonding be a positive thing? Like,
So, and that's what I want to say too. Like, I feel like what it does is a lot of the times, even though you're bonding with somebody through trauma, I think it forges a lot of loyalty between you and other people because you can understand where somebody's coming from. I think it first of all, even being able when you, I think the fact that somebody can trauma bond, it means that they're empathetic, that they can see, like, I can understand what you went through.
yeah,
Not necessarily that we went through the same thing. And a lot of the times you don't even know what somebody went through. You just like, you feel a vibe with somebody. You're like, yo, I like how they move or whatever it is. And you don't even know it's because y'all done probably went through the same shit.
yeah.
That's why
Same,
y'all act the same way.
makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So
That makes a lot of sense.
like, or think about prison. Like, it's trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is probably what people do in prison because that is the only way to stay safe. So is it negative then when it gives you a support system? See what I'm saying too? That's what happens too. Like,
because if I came in, if I went into prison as a neutral, right? And you know you got all different types. You got the Muslims, you got the Bloods, Crips, the Spanish gangs, all type of gangs in prison, right? And I know that I gotta get affiliated with something to be safe. And for me to get affiliated with them, I have to kind of like kiss butt a little bit.
right. Or even think
Damn,
about
that's crazy. That's
runaway
crazy.
Kid, right? A runaway kid, right? That had whatever background they had. They meet other runaways in the street. Now they robbing and stealing to eat though, right? That's not necessarily the right way, but that is the way. That's the way they know. So now I'm bonded with other people. Yeah, they done been in the same situation. We all orphans. Now it forges loyalty. Not necessarily the best under the best circumstances, but
Makes sense.
it forges loyalty. You see what I'm saying? So trauma bonding, but then again, it turns it. Think about what you said before about the friction in relationships, right? How somebody could be being abused and around their friends, they're defending the abuser, right?
Yeah.
But both of them, think about why they even liked each other in the first place, or how they bonded. They probably both of them been through the same. He's probably seen situations where he's reenacting it with her, and she done seen it. They done both seen the same thing, and saw the parents probably stay together, and you know this is how it's supposed to be. You what is called you think about it. Oh, makeup sex, or it's better after the fight and all that. It starts with simple. No, but sometimes
that's a good connection.
no, but you know sometimes it starts simple as that. Stuff like that. Like you're used to the commotion. You know what I'm saying? And then the sweetness comes after.
So I want you to elaborate on this. I'm gonna read something to you, right? And when I researched the word trauma bonding, the definition, it had different things up here, like the 5 signs of it, right? So I want to read one of the signs. Well, one of the words it had appearance, right? And it said, if you feel you can't be yourself around your partner, friend, or family member, it could be a sign of trauma bonding. This can include not being willing to share your feelings, opinions, or thoughts. You may also find that you start to match their thinking, either to please them or to prevent them from getting angry.
That's crazy because I didn't know that was a trauma bond, but I have seen that.
That happens.
I have seen
that happens with your wife, with your daughter, with your son. If you in those situations where you don't want to make them angry, so here's a bag of excuse me, here's a bag of chips. Here's the iPad. Let's go to the movies, just so you won't trigger them.
You know what's funny? Now you just connected something for me, right? Because think about it. It's like earlier we went to the supermarket and the kid was throwing the stuff on the floor and stuff. Now if the mother wanted him to stop, she probably would have gave him something, like, because he seemed like an unruly kid.
Yeah.
Now she would have gave him something for him to stop doing that. Later on down the line, that would have created a monster.
Yep, that's
right?
a fact. That's a fact.
But you see how it starts, and it's not. She's not being negative with him. I just want you to stop.
So can you use the word trauma bonding in a positive way, though? That's why I'm trying to see, like, because I feel like
I think anything can be turned into a positive.
I feel like you can. Like if that's the if it's to save a life, if it's to prevent yourself from being embarrassed by, some people don't care about being embarrassed,
Right.
but can you trauma bond with your kid or your sibling or your significant other to not be embarrassed in public? Can you cater to them in some type of way?
I think you can, but I don't think it would be called trauma bonding. Then I think that's just like, it's like when they say like the word narcissist, right? You have some people have narcissist tendencies, or like it's like you don't want to diagnose yourself just because you
Mm.
do certain things that pertain to a whole. You see what I'm saying?
But I feel like you still can connect it. I feel like,
You can, but I think if it's constant, then it becomes trauma bonding.
but what if the child or the significant other is just that type of person in different environments?
If you find yourself always doing that, like stepping on eggshells and always doing that, then I believe it's a trauma bond.
Mm.
But if it's just like, okay, I really don't want to hear a mouth tonight, so
That's a trauma bond, bro. Like you can't like you can't tell me that it's
that's a
not.
trauma bond move. But it's not trauma bonding if you don't do it like only if you only do it once a month. I don't think I don't think it counts.
Come on,
I don't know, but
but
it is deep though.
it's
Definitely is
broad
deep.
and like I said, like I didn't like first thing I thought about trauma bonding is I thought the meaning off rip, like I didn't do any research. I thought the meaning trauma bonding is just like you and that significant other just get together and y'all just basically share or y'all go through y'all struggles or y'all experiences in y'all negative experiences together.
Well, no, not
That's
no,
what I
no,
thought it meant. And
no.
and to open up that whole word and get the real definition, it just brought me into a different
A
whole.
lot of times it's subtle. It's something that you don't really see. It's like you're doing it more. It's like more people are more on autopilot.
It's,
Doing
it's
it.
subconscious,
It
like you
is
said, like you
subconscious.
said
It's something
upstairs.
that it's because it's innate. It's inside of you. It's learned behavior. So it's nothing that you don't feel is normal.
Wrong, like it's not a
It's right.
wrong
It's
thing.
normalcy. It's not. It's not. You don't feel like it's wrong because you feel like it's you. It's like it's a book called The Four Agreements. I think Toya read it too. I read it too. But it's saying like you gotta. A lot of the
Yep.
times, who we are is everything that we've learned from other people, our parents, our school teachers, our siblings, our friends, and we just create our character. And then when you get older, you realize certain things work and certain things don't, and certain things you let go, certain things is hard to let go. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
as a person, when you recreate yourself, you redefine who you are, and a lot of the times, you let go of certain things that you feel like that don't serve you anymore.
So we got 5 minutes left on this topic, right? So I want you to tell the people, right? If I want you to talk to someone out there who's actually experiencing this, and if you don't know if you're experiencing this would be a good time, a good show to watch, just so you can get the understanding, right? What can you tell somebody that's going through trauma bonding or don't even know that they're going through trauma bonding and trying to figure it out? What can you tell them that can possibly like help them like get out of that type of mentality?
I would just say if you see certain traits, I don't know, in somebody else that's not that you know didn't benefit you in your on your along your way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's okay. It's not because what I want to say is this: you don't want to ostracize people or look down on people for whatever they go through, especially if you've been through it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make that the common connection between you and the person
In a
You see what I'm saying?
relationship.
Right? Because you could
Any
have,
relationship.
you could have a social worker or somebody that's been through something, and she's the perfect person to help somebody because she knows how to connect. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or even a psychologist or things like that. So they have to be able to bond. I don't know if necessarily a trauma bond, but bond with people in a way that you know,
In a positive way.
right, will help them get away from the trauma, not add to it. Like don't get with somebody and be like, I know they do this, I know they do that. Let's do more of it. It's like no, like if that shit wasn't conducive to you, don't carry it on just because you got a connection with somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's in that state. But I just feel like a lot of the times, if it's possible, if you trauma bond with somebody, make it like go to the next level. Like be able to be like, yo, we went through this.
Be able to recognize it.
Right. And
right.
get away from it. You know what I'm saying?
But my question is, how do you
recognize it?
How do you recognize it and then escape from it before it becomes you, before that's just who you are as a person?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of times you got to come away from everything. And you probably would have to isolate yourself and realize certain things about yourself. Well, it would have to be something that would be bothering you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to notice it first. Like, when the first signs of being an addict, you got to understand that you're an addict, right?
Exactly.
So you got to understand it. All right, I get it.
Yeah.
So that's the topic that I just wanted to talk about, because what I was one of Tanya's topics, and it was actually a good topic because, first of all, we haven't did a podcast in a long time, and for her to randomly hit me up and wanted to go forward with it, I was just like, let's do it. And like I said, I didn't really have knowledge on trauma bonding until I started researching it. And you learn things every day. Yeah. Trauma bonding just wasn't one of the things that came across me until now. So it was good that we spoke about it, Tanya. Yeah. You got anything else to say about trauma bonding?
Nah.
Do you feel like you need to get more off about trauma bonding? Do you feel like you left something out?
No, I don't think so. I just think that it's something that's real. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that's unseen. Is why it's hard to catch, I think, because it's a form of normalcy.
I was thinking something real quick, right? Like when you're in an intimate relationship and when you want to have sex with your lady or your other significant other, do you use trauma bonding as a tactic to get them in the bed?
Well, I don't even know how.
Because think about this.
How does that work?
Because if you know, like it is, it's like you want to keep them happy, right? You want to make sure.
Yes.
So before that's what I'm saying. So before you get into the bedroom and you got the whole day, like, yo, man,
you mean like a seduction?
I'm in the mood.
That is possible.
So I'm gonna just cater to everything she say. If she want to gossip about somebody, I'm gonna agree with the gossip.
That is possible.
I'm gonna make sure all my we gotta get out that habit, and we gotta start like noticing because a lot of people is probably being in situations where they trauma
manipulation too.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
You're right.
That's how broad this topic opened my eyes. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, I really thought about it, and this is how much information came out of it.
It even goes as deep as like sexual preference too.
Like,
with the trauma bonding too. So I believe it's a big monster.
Holy shoot.
It's a big monster. I think it's a big monster.
That we gotta kind of like be aware of when you being overwhelmed by trauma bonding. I feel like you gotta have a little bit of trauma bonding in your life. Like, as a human being, you might just naturally have some of it, but you gotta be aware when it's overwhelming you and you just looking crazy in the streets. You know what I mean? But that's our time. So we're gonna move on to the next topic because we want